Hi, I'm Tanya, and welcome to Faithful Flow. It's going to be an evening wind down practice, so we're not going to work too hard. We're going to do a little bit of movement to help us kind of unravel the stresses of the day. It's great to do after a long work day, or perhaps right before bed if you're having trouble kind of settling your brain and getting into that sleep mode. It's going to be a movement-based class. It's not a full restorative class, but we are going to do some kind of slower and supportive poses today. So you will want a few props. We've got a supported butterfly, so you'll want some blocks. If you don't have blocks, a couple rolls of paper towels works well. You can use those to support the legs in it. And then we're going to end with our legs up the wall. So I always like to have either a blanket or a towel to protect my back, and then a belt to help just to secure my feet. So I like to secure my feet and legs together. That way they can really just kind of release and restore into the pose. So I'll show you how to do that when we get there. So if you have a big long yoga belt, that's great. A scarf, things like that also work too. And then if you're using a blanket or a towel and you want to go ahead and get it set up so we have it ready to go later, you're just going to put it lengthwise against the wall, and that way you can lay your back down on it. It's a little bit of support, so you're not, hurting your back on your if you have a hard floor or any sort of floor like that. So once you get ready, you can join me back on your mat in an easy seat. So just legs crossed comfortably, sitting up nice and tall. I'll read to us, and then we'll take that and turn it into a breath prayer, and then we can continue to take that breath prayer with us throughout the rest of class. So before I read, let's just take a few breaths together. Sit up nice and tall, maybe palms face up in your lap. If you'd like to, you can close your eyes. And then let's exhale everything out. From there, take a deep breath in, filling up through the belly, the ribs, the upper chest. And then exhale, starting at the top, upper chest, ribs, belly. We'll do that a few more times. Inhaling belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, ribs, belly. One more round here. Inhaling belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, ribs, belly. You can continue with the breathing. I'm going to open my eyes and read to us. And we're coming today out of Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. And here Jesus is speaking, and he says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take up my yoke and learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." And we can turn that into a bit of a breath prayer. Inhaling Jesus. Exhale, I take rest in you. So very simple. Inhaling Jesus. Exhale, I take rest in you. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. All right, if you've had your eyes closed, you can go ahead and gently flutter them open. And we're just going to find some spinal movements here. So we're going to reach our left arm up to the ceiling, open up to the shoulder, gaze up, and then exhale, round down, and bring that left hand towards the right knee. Again, inhale, opening up, really opening up through the shoulder and the chest. Exhale, rounding down. And as you're opening up, the hand's going to come back behind the shoulder. You're even going to find like a little bit of a twist here. And then exhale, coming back down. We'll take two more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. And then coming back up to a nice straight seat. If you'd like to switch the crossing of the legs, you can. Sometimes it feels a little bit different on the hips to switch sides. And then we'll just start with the right arm. So right arm comes up towards the ceiling, open the chest, lift the armpit, maybe gaze behind you. And exhale, round down, right hand towards the left knee. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, rounding down. A few more. Inhaling. And exhaling. And continue with that breath prayer as we move. Inhale, crying out to Jesus. Exhale, I take rest in you. We'll take one more round here. Inhaling, Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. All right, from here, release that, come back to a seat. We'll pause here, take a breath in and out. And then we're going to find a seated chest opener. So it's kind of like a seated fish, very gentle. Bring your legs long behind you, sit up tall. Just walk your hands behind you, fingertips away from the body, and then begin to open the chest. Roll the shoulders back, gaze up. So think kind of like a camel pose for the upper body. Hands are behind you, supporting you. Feet can be flexed, or you can bring them into a point, or maybe even a pointed feet and flexed toes. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from there, just walking the hands in, coming back to a nice straight spine, releasing the toes. And then we're going to come onto our shins and find a child's pose. And then we're going to take that into rabbit pose. So I'm just going to move my blocks out of the way. And it can be kind of a narrow child pose. So sometimes we have our knees really wide, but bring your knees towards each other, ankles towards each other. And then we're just going to fold forward and bring our hands back. They're going to reach for the heels of the feet. And we can just take a few breaths here, releasing the head down onto the mat. Inhaling and exhaling. Continuing with that breath prayer. Inhaling, Jesus. Exhaling, affirming, I take rest in you. And from here, we're going to move on to that rabbit pose. So you're going to think about lifting up through the shoulders to the back of the neck. We're just going to kind of roll into the top of our head very gently, but we're really keeping this pressure into our heels and creating a little bit of tension there. So you're really trying to pull your feet toward you, but then with your heels kind of push them away. And so there's not a whole lot of weight in my head. I can actually pick my head up off the ground gently and then put it back down. So think about rounding here kind of through the upper back and the shoulders. A few more breaths. Inhaling, Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. We'll be here for 3, 2, 1, and then coming back to this child's pose for a few breaths. You can leave your hands back by your feet, or if you'd like to extend them towards the front, maybe palms face up a bit. A few breaths here. We're here for 3, 2, 1, and then just walking your hands in, planting them on the mat as you use your arms to help you lift up. And then from here, we're going to find a supported butterfly on our back. So go ahead and find your blocks or whatever you're using to support your legs, and then just come onto your blocks. The soles of the feet, come onto your blocks, come onto your back, have your blocks one on each side. And then soles of the feet are going to come together, knees are going to come nice and wide, and then you're going to use these blocks underneath your legs, and you just put them anywhere that feels supported for you. So sometimes that might be towards the end of, or not the end of the legs, but towards the knees. And if you need a little more lift, you can kind of bring it in and place it more under the thighs, and that will decrease the angle. And once you're there, hands can come anywhere. So out to the side, palms face up is a good option. Another option is your hands to your belly, maybe one to the lower belly and one towards the chest. And then we're just going to be here for a few moments. I'll let you know when it's time to move. And just feeling your breath. If you've got your hands on your belly, you can feel your breath as it comes in and feel your ribs sink as you exhale. And if your arms are by your side, just feel the rib cage moving. Maybe feel the breath passing over the upper lip. Allowing the breath and the breath prayer specifically to help you kind of unravel your stresses of the day. So inhaling, crying out to Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. And we're about halfway through our time here. If you need to make any adjustments, maybe your hips are feeling a little more open, you can shift your supports around a bit. And then any movement that you do, try to make your way back into stillness. We'll be here for about 5 more breath cycles. Inhaling Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. Let's take 2 breaths left together. Inhale and exhale. And once more, inhale and exhale. All right, you can move your blocks away. So just kind of lift your knees a bit, set the blocks off to the side. And then we're going to move into a very gentle twist. So lift your knees up towards the ceiling. Tick-tock your feet nice and wide. So they may come all the way to the sides of the mat. They may even come a little bit past it. Just kind of depends on the length of your legs. And then we're going to allow both knees to fall over to the left. Try and keep this right shoulder on the mat. So you're going to feel this stretch kind of in this right outer hip, lower back, maybe even the hip flexor. And then you can stay here, or if you want a little assist, this left ankle can lift up and come on top of the right thigh. And then it's a little bit of self-assist, so some very gentle pressure downwards to kind of help stretch this out a bit. And then arms can come anywhere that's comfortable. So again, out to the side, maybe even cactus. If you'd like to, you can pick your head up and turn to look to the right. So deepening the twist a bit. So knees are both over to the left. We're gazing to the right. And now that we're in here, we're going to hold. I'll let you know when it's time to come out. And we're going to stay for about a minute on each side. Just allowing the body to begin to relax a bit. Allow the breath to help you to still the thoughts, still the stress. Inhaling Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. We'll be here on this side for a few more breaths. For 3, 2, 1. And from here, unwind your head first if you moved it to the side. Then uncross this top left leg. Then bring the knees up through center. And we'll just pause through center. So feet to the ground, lift and lengthen the tailbone a bit, and then release it back down. That just helps us to straighten out our spine and our hips again before moving to the other side. All right, and then other side, feet are nice and wide again. Knees facing up towards the ceiling, and then just allow the knees to fall to the right. Feel this opening on this left side here. Maybe a little bit of the back, outer hip, hip flexor, and then decide if you want to stay or if you want that little assist. If you want that little assist, it's right ankle on top of left leg, and then some gentle pressure, just using gravity and the weight of the leg to kind of lengthen it and deepen the twist. And then we'll be on this side for about a minute as well. So once you're in here, hands anywhere that's comfortable, out to a T, cactus, they can rest on your belly again. Whatever would be most relaxing and refreshing for you. And then if your brain's beginning to wander a little bit, just come back to that breath prayer. Inhaling Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. And again, inhaling. And exhaling. A few breaths left. And we're here for 3, 2, 1. All right, nice and slowly releasing this top leg if you used it. Then bringing both knees up towards the ceiling, feet to the ground. Lift and lengthen the hips a little bit, coming back to that nice straight spine. We'll just take one breath here before we move on. So inhale and exhale. All right, and from here, we're going to move to the wall. So any gentle way you want to sit up, maybe knees to chest. You can rock through your side or just rock up to a seat. And then go ahead and find your strap if you're using one. And then we're just going to shimmy up next to the wall here. So you're going to bring your bum up next to the wall. You're kind of start sideways with your legs parallel to the wall. And then from here, you're just going to roll down onto your back and sling your legs up to the wall. Now, some people like to have a little bolster. They like to have their hips elevated. I'm not a huge fan of that, but you might find that that feels really good and restorative for you. So you could try that. And the other option, which I really like, is just to secure my legs with the strap here. And that just allows my legs to really relax because the strap does the work of holding the legs together. So to do that, I put my belt around the arches of my feet. Then I cross it in front of the ankles, wrap it around the back, and then I just kind of tie it in the front here. So I don't worry about looping it through, just a nice gentle little tie, anything to kind of keep it secured. And then you can allow the feet to rest back on the wall. Now we're going to be here for a few minutes just to really allow our legs to decompress. You're going to feel them get kind of heavy in the hip socket here. And you may even begin to feel your feet tingle a little bit towards the end. And those are all normal, but if they begin to hurt at all, you can come out of the pose. You don't want any pain. A little tingling is fine. That's just because they're not used to being elevated up over our heart. And then once you begin to settle in, arms again, anywhere that's comfortable. Maybe we kind of lift a shoulder up and tuck the shoulder blade underneath you a little bit on each side. Close your eyes if that feels good for you. And then just allow yourself to sink here. So sink into the ground. Relax as many muscles as you can. Let go of any tension that you may have in your face, your forehead. And get soft through the jaw. Find some softness in the neck and the shoulders. Allow the arms to be heavy here on the ground. Feel the ground supporting your back here. And get soft through the chest and the belly. Allow the legs to just rest heavy in the hip socket. And then just see if you can release your legs just a little more. Just allow the wall to support them here. If you're using a belt or a scarf or something to secure your legs, just let it do the work. And that way your legs can just relax. We're at about the halfway mark through this pose. Just returning your awareness to your breath now. Inhaling, feeling the lungs expand. And exhaling, seeing if you can let go of just a little more. Allow your inhales to be nice and soothing here. And your exhales restoring. Inhaling, crying out, Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. A few more breaths here. We got about 40 seconds left. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, if your time allows, you're welcome to stay here as long as you have or want. Otherwise, to come out of it, if your legs are secured, carefully begin to bend them and untie your strap or belt or whatever you're using. And just be aware when you're moving that your legs or feet may have fallen asleep. So just move slowly. Make sure that they're awake before you put any pressure on them. You can roll to one side, maybe cradle your head in your arm, take a couple of breaths there. And from there, you can use your hands to help you come up to a seat. Any seat is fine, maybe even sitting against the wall so you've got some support here. And then we'll just bring our hands over our heart center. And we'll take one final breath together here. So close your eyes if you'd like to. Inhaling, crying out, Jesus. Exhaling, I take rest in you. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you feel a little more refreshed and relaxed and ready to enjoy your evening or your night at rest. So thank you so much. Until I see you again soon. Grace and peace.